The device manager is an interface, an MMC snap-in, where we can manage and view drivers. We can learn a lot about them. There's a lot of information in there. Let's go ahead and go to it. I'm going to type DEVMGMT for device manager.msc. And there's the device manager. If you can't remember that, you can simply right click on the start menu and go to device manager. Now that I'm in the device manager, I can see that all of these drivers are working correctly. The reason I can see that is because if there was one that was not working correctly, you would see one of these things expanded, and you would see a symbol on it showing that it's in trouble, that it's not working right. But since none of those were expanded and I didn't have any of those, I know that everything's working fine. Now from here I can do various things. Let's go to properties here and then over to driver. So I can update the driver, I can roll back the driver if a new one has been installed. This is grayed out right now because there is not a second driver here, but if I installed a new one, then I could roll it back. I can uninstall the device, I can disable the device. So I have lots of things I can do. When I click driver details, by the way, I can see the exact driver file. In this case, it's monitor.sys, and it's in C Windows System 32 drivers. So I can see where the driver is installed and the file or files that are involved in that driver. So that's pretty cool right there. Lots of details here. If I click down here and take a look, I can see a ton of details that I can get about this device or about the driver. One trick that I like to use is if I have a device I need a new driver for, rather than searching through Google and trying to find it, I can go to hardware IDs. And this is not a very good example of it in this case, so I guess I better choose a better one. Let's go to the camera and take a look at that. There we go, hardware IDs. Now what you see here is USB, so it's a USB device, and then VID or vendor ID 0C45, and then an ampersand, and then product ID 6536, and revision 0100, and I don't know what the MI stands for, 00. Well, with this information, I can actually look that up quite easily. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open Notepad and paste that in there because I just want the vendor ID and the product ID. So I'm just going to get that much of it, and I'm going to copy that, and we'll go over to a browser and we'll paste that in Google here. And here you see this camera driver download. It just takes you right to the exact download that you need for that particular driver. I have seen people, especially students, new people new to this stuff, who spend hours Googling trying to find the exact right device when it's so easy right there. Tons and tons of things you can do from here, and including things that you can see from here. Alright, let's go back here to our notes. Drivers may come with signed digital signatures. As a matter of fact, most devices today, when the manufacturer designs the driver, they send it to Microsoft, they pay Microsoft some money, and Microsoft will test it and make sure that it's all good and sign it. By signing it, they put in a digital code that must match when that driver is installed. It's a hash file. We haven't talked about what hash files are, so I'm not going to get into that. But if that hash file doesn't match the rest of the document, then it is not signed correctly, and Microsoft will give you a warning and not allow you to install it. Only administrators can install unsigned drivers, by the way. This is also where I can enable and disable plug-and-play devices. You need to know that for Microsoft's MTA exam. So if I go back to my manager here, which it looks like I closed, my device manager, And we'll take a plug and play device. Let's say I don't want to do the camera because I'm using the camera right now. Let's pick on a network adapter. And let me see, how about my Bluetooth driver? So here I can disable that driver, and then once I disable it, I can re-enable that driver. So plug and play devices can easily be enabled and disabled from this interface. Next, we're going to talk about a couple of different ways to install drivers, and we'll walk you through some of the screens that we use from the device manager to install new drivers.